Hi guys, it's Filo. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll review the 5 books I've read in February. Starting with Between Shades of Grey, not to be confused with 50 Shades of Grey. We follow a Lithuanian family sent to frozen hell during the Soviet era. The author, Ruta Sepetys, writes about dictatorships all around the world, and I wanted to start with this one because she is from Lithuanian background, and I thought maybe she will be better documented about this one. And it was also adapted in a movie called Ashes in the Snow, so I understood it was her most famous one. And I'm glad I did because I got to learn a lot about this period of time and about Lithuanian culture. I also appreciated that even if she talks about war, she doesn't give gore details. She kept it very PG, and I think that makes it even more compelling. There's also a cute romance and a very sweet found family trope that give you hope. So here the big question raised is, when you're left with nothing, what's your true identity? What makes you still hope, and what can't be erased from your soul? You're welcome. Oh, and also good to know, there are very short chapters, very digestible. A quick read. The second book I read was The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. It's a wonderful tale about tales, Russian folklore and change. It's fast-paced, really captivating and amazingly written. And the good news is that it's a series, it's a trilogy actually. Here we follow a family living in a village near the forest, and especially the coming of age of WASHI, who can see the spirits surrounding their home and lives with them in a balance that is suddenly endangered by changes in their beliefs and their old traditions. I loved that it's based heavily on history, tales and mystical traditions. It was absolutely fascinating to me, and I can't wait to read the other 2 books of this series. I get to learn about Rus, the growth of the power of the church as well as their society, and how they lived at that time. The personality of each character is so interesting. I really want to know what happens to them next. Their relationships are so nice. I also love that she integrated some Russian in the novel. So yeah, conclusion, it's one of the best books I've ever read. It makes you look around you and wonder if maybe some of it is true. You know, it makes you look at things in a different way. Then I read La Casa de Bernarda Alba, or The House of Bernarda Alba by Federico García Lorca. I never read plays, and I'm a bit ashamed to admit that I don't think I've ever read a Spanish classic before. Well, I'm so glad I did. It's a very short play, very realistic, and the protagonists are only women. So this is set in a little village in the south of Spain, near Granada. Bernarda Alba just lost her husband, and that condemns her as well as all of her daughters to stay at home during many years without seeing anybody, without getting married, and so on. So this is about repression due to society, beliefs, sexism, classism, and overall a resistance to change. The author wrote this play just weeks before being killed in Spain during the Civil War, and the story is based on true events. It's based on the Alba family, a neighboring family that lived in his hometown near Granada. Then I read Lord of the Flies by William Golding. During a world war, a plane crashes on a deserted island and leaves a bunch of schoolboys alone by themselves. At first, they really enjoy their freedom, and then they try to survive and create their own society. So this is a great dystopian idea, and I love the premise, but in my opinion, the execution was meh. I think it would have been much better as a play, actually. I did enjoy the evolution of the characters, individually as well as a community, and it definitely offers an interesting reflection on the need of laws, unity, and ethics. I also very much enjoyed the symbols used all along the story. They talk about safety, politics, community, and war, but in a kind of children game situation. So as a dystopian novel, it has a very philosophical interest, but in the execution, I read 4 books during the first half of February, and then this one took me like 10 days. So it basically put me in a reading slump. And then I wanted to briefly mention Get Alive, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, a very famous series which is supposed to be romantic and fun, but to me it was absolutely not romantic and not fun at all. The writing was gross, I didn't learn anything, didn't make me think, so I didn't make any page about it because I don't want to keep reading this series and I don't even want to think about it. And finally, all in all, I think it was a really good reading month. I realized that apart from that book that shall not be named, they all address kind of the same subject. They all talk about humanity and society when taken to the extreme. A group of women shut at home, a group of schoolboys with too much freedom, and the fact that we all have good and evil in us, and that given the circumstances or our choices, we can tend to one or another. So that's why I made this spread, to write my thoughts about all that I've read this month. I think it's nice to have a place to reflect on all those books together, even if the styles and the stories are definitely very different. Finally, I added a stop reading section for books or authors I don't want to read anymore, and another a keep reading section for books, series, or author I want to keep reading. Here's the final flip through of my reading journal this month. I really hope you enjoyed the spreads and my reviews. I'll see you soon with another video, and until then, enjoy reading!